Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
New for you now at 5, an 18-year-old accused of killing a 20-year-old man and shooting another teenager is now in jail. Officials say 18-year-old Antonio Parkhurst was arrested without incident today. The shooting happened Monday night and left a man dead and a teenage boy injured. Family members say the teen who was shot is expected to recover. Police have not yet released the name of the 20-year-old who was shot and killed. We now know where a fire started that injured 2 people in Grand Forks, but not how. It happened Sunday morning around 2:30 when crews responded to a structure fire at an apartment building at 321 North 4th Street. The Grand Forks Fire Marshal is now saying the fire started in the kitchen area of a lower-level apartment. They couldn't determine the exact cause because of the significant damage and say it will be classified as undetermined. Dozens of sheep are dead after a barn fire near Brookings, South Dakota. The fire started yesterday afternoon and caused $30,000 in structural damage. 15 ewes and 17 lambs were killed. The cause is under investigation. A furnace is to blame for a fire that heavily damaged a home near Sebeka, Minnesota. The call came in last night about 10:35 to a house on 109th Avenue. When crews arrived, they found flames had already reached the second story of the home. Firefighters were able to put the fire out quickly. No major injuries were reported. The cold air is back, and this will be a night you won't want to be caught outside. Let's find out about some dangerous wind chills with Hutch in your No Wait Weather Planner. Hutch?
Andrea, crystal clear skies out there, and once again, it's been a cold day all day long as we take a look at that wind chill advisory basically for our entire viewing area tonight into tomorrow. Actual air temperatures are hovering either side of 0 degrees as we forecast yesterday, and wind chills are already 10 to 20 below, with the coldest wind chills in the Bemidji and Thief River areas. Your planner for tonight in Fargo, temperatures will nosedive this evening, and in the early overnight, we'll see teens below, but notice the wind direction becomes southwesterly. That is a sign of change that's coming our way. Southwesterly winds bring warmer air, but not this evening and not tomorrow morning. I'll have hour-by-hour details on a much-needed warm-up here in the valley here in just a few moments.
Sounds good to me. Thanks, Hutch. Authorities in Grand Forks are alerting the public about a high-risk sex offender working in the city. 39-year-old Ricky Lindemoen is now working at CHS Asphalt Terminal on the city's north side. Lindemoen was charged with first-degree criminal sexual contact with a weapon. He is considered a high-risk offender, meaning that he is considered likely to reoffend. He currently lives in Warren, Minnesota. The North Dakota Highway Patrol released numbers today showing the lowest number of vehicle deaths in 15 years. In 2019, a total of 100 people died in crashes. That's down 5 from the year before. Preventable factors were major contributors to the number of deaths, like not wearing a seatbelt or speeding. Of the deaths last year, 47% were not wearing seatbelts, 42% were alcohol-related, and 24% were speed-related. Fargo police say within the last 3 months, they've responded to over 30 crashes at 19th Avenue North and University Drive, saying over half of those crashes happened in December alone. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with the city today, learning that they're planning on fixing the area soon and how other dangerous intersections are on their radar.
The city of Fargo says North University and 19th Avenue came on their radar about 2 years ago after a crash trend report like this came out from the state.
Usually left turns are what get people into trouble at our intersections.
And the city says they're planning to make the intersection safer as early as next year, saying they plan to offset the left turning lanes.
So instead of like looking around a left turning vehicle in front of you, that's moved over so you can see past them.
Gordon says another intersection that tends to be a problem is at 45th Street and 23rd Avenue.
When you get over 45 miles an hour, any type of crash is not good.
But he says areas like that are hard to make changes to.
When the intersections are already that large, they're hard to improve them because there's so much that we've already done.
He says besides offsetting the left turn lanes, there isn't much to fix at large intersections like 32nd Avenue and 45th Street, besides protecting the turn signals.
So, I mean, you got 9 lanes, sometimes you got 6 through lanes and double lefts and a right. It's at that point, it's It's organized chaos.
Gordon says it all comes down to smart driving when passing through those big and busy intersections, saying patience is key. In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Fargo police say since November, they've only responded to 11 crashes at the 45th Street and 32nd Avenue intersection. Should the law shield tech companies from legal liability for what users post? That was the topic of a Justice Department forum today with Attorney General William Barr and FBI Director Christopher Wray. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act was introduced in 1996. The law absolves tech companies from responsibility for what users post, but still allows them to moderate and remove the most offensive content. Critics of the law say it protects some of the most valuable companies who publish misinformation from being held responsible.
The early days of online public bulletin boards like AOL have been replaced by platforms with sophisticated content moderation tools, algorithms, recommendation features, and targeting.
It is still unclear what direction lawmakers will take on Section 230, but they're wanting to remind tech companies that protections may not last forever. As President Trump begins a campaign drive out west today, there are fresh concerns about whether he's blurring the lines between justice and politics. And there are new reports that Attorney General William Barr threatened to quit over the president's tweets about ongoing cases. Alice Barr is in Washington with the latest.
President Trump today continuing to tweet and retweet about the Justice Department against the wishes of his Attorney General William Barr, including sharing comments from conservative allies that Barr should clean house, targeting those involved in the Russia investigation. It comes as the White House tries to tamp down reports that Barr considered resigning over some of the president's past tweets.
That the Attorney General is not going anywhere?
The president raised eyebrows when he claimed a title that belongs to Barr.
I'm actually, I guess, the chief law enforcement officer of the country.
Part of his explanation for pardoning and commuting the sentences of 11 people, including former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, freed after serving 8 years for corruption.
We want to express our most profound and everlasting gratitude to President Trump.
The move raising questions about whether President Trump may pardon his longtime friend Roger Stone, who faces sentencing tomorrow for lying to Congress and obstructing the Russia investigation. Stone's sentencing was the catalyst for Barr publicly chastising the president, saying his tweets on the matter were making his job impossible. But some question whether the Attorney General is just trying to save face within the Justice Department.
It's much more his concern about stopping that internal revolt than it is any real opposition to what the president is doing.
The president today looking for support on the West Coast, kicking off a 4-state campaign swing.
Officials say President Trump's trip out west is a mix of White House business and campaign appearances. He's holding the first of 3 rallies in 3 days, tonight in Phoenix. Veterans, servicemen, and families commemorate the 75th anniversary of Iwo Jima. The observance took place at the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. Dozens of servicemen and women, veterans who served in the war, attended the service, laying wreaths to remember thousands of soldiers killed there. And the keynote speaker, a U.S. Army general.
From 1914 to 1945, the world was engaged in 2 of the biggest wars that have ever been fought in the history of humanity. But they fought for something, and they fought for a better peace.
Officials say the general told stories shared by his father, who survived World War II, and that he also highlighted the tragic loss of millions of soldiers. NASCAR driver Ryan Newman walks out of a Florida hospital just 2 days after a violent crash. Roush Fenway Racing tweeted this photo of Newman holding his daughter's hands after he was released. A remarkable recovery after his crash on the final lap of the Daytona 500 Monday. Newman's car flipped, then skidded over the finish line and caught fire. It took crews about 15 minutes to get Newman out of his car.